Could you just give like a brief introduction of like who you are, what school you go to, that kind of thing, whatever you're comfortable sharing?
Okay. Yeah, I'm Jen Starzak, and I'm currently a first year graduate student at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. And yeah, I've transverse myelitis, which is a spinal cord neurological disorder that damages the spinal cord. And that happened at 13, so I went through high school and college with a disability.
Thank you. And so, what are you studying in grad school?
I'm studying speech language pathology. So I am in like the speech language pathology clinical master's program at the U of I.
Cool. And what do you hope to do with that?
I'm hoping to be a speech pathologist. I'm not like completely sure about the setting yet, but I would love to work with children, especially like older children, because like I never had speech therapists, but my OTs and PTs, when I was an adolescent with a disability, a lot of my like good OTs and PTs really were helpful for not just physically, but also, emotionally and everything too, getting through all of that. So I would love to hopefully be that kind of person for an adolescent as well.
That's awesome. Um, so I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about like your journey into like college and stuff, like how you figured out whether you needed accommodations, how you picked the school that you did, that kind of stuff.
So for grad school or undergrad or all of it?
Wherever you'd like to start, I guess. Maybe if you can go
Okay.
through a little of everything, that would be awesome.
Mhm. So when I originally, went into college, like at the end of high school, when looking into colleges and stuff, I didn't think that much about the disability like aspect of things. Um, so the first university that I went to freshman year um, was not the most accommodating, and the atmosphere was just not very disability friendly. I was like one of like two wheelchair users on the entire campus. Um, and people were very like standoffish about like disability, which was just kind of weird and made me feel just like outcast-ish, you know what I mean? And the accommodations there, the way that they did have disability services, I got some accommodations um, by like my doctor writing a letter and everything and recommending what I might need and kind of basing it off of my high school 504 and things like that. But they I felt like they left it up to the professors too much. So a lot of it didn't end up really being honored fully. There was like too much that you would have to advocate for yourself for, like that you'd have to push for in order to just get like the bare minimum that you needed. So that was really challenging and was not the best experience. So I transferred out of there. I went to community college for a year, sophomore year, I kind of tried to figure out where I wanted to go next. And the community college was great with everything. Um, and then I transferred to the University of Wisconsin Whitewater junior year of college and started their communication sciences and disorders bachelor's program. And I chose UW Whitewater mainly because I heard that they had really, really good disability services, and they did. In my experience, I really liked the way they set everything up. I was able to get accommodations like a lot more easily. I like it wasn't like the professors still had some say in everything, but the way they set it up, like there was a system that kind of told the professors what you needed and stuff, and then you could meet with them so they already knew, so you didn't have to kind of tell them everything. And the professors were really, really nice and understanding, super accommodating. My like confidence at the beginning of college and end of high school and stuff was rock bottom because of all of those experiences. But then when I went to UW Whitewater, the professors definitely helped lift that confidence back up because I did feel like they actually did believe that I could do what I was doing, which it goes a long way, like a lot more than you'd think, to have other people not think that you can't do something, you know? So then when I went to grad school, I chose University of Illinois because they also have really good disability services and they have a really good program for the profession I'm pursuing. So I heard a lot of great things about that. And so far, they're doing really well too. We have clinicals is a huge part of this program of study. And so at the beginning of last semester, I met with my disability services coordinator and my clinical instructor. And she was like immediately trying to figure out ways to make sure that every aspect of my clinical experience would be accessible to me, and she had a lot of great ideas that I didn't even think about and brought up potential issues that I wouldn't have thought about on my own either, which was just really, really helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it seems like you touched a lot on some challenges and also some triumphs through college. Are there any that are particularly that stand out to you that you would want to dive into a little bit more?
Like triumphs or difficulties?
Both.
Both. Difficulties. I think one of the biggest difficulties, like at the beginning of college, I had a lot of like fatigue and stuff and would sometimes have to miss class, and professors were not um, understanding about that or helping me out through that. And I also like needing extra time on exams because I have partial paralysis and weakness in my hands and fingers, so it takes longer to write things. And sometimes for like multiple choice tests, I don't need it, but a lot of the times if it's like written, like essay sort of test, but they it was really difficult to like set up times with the professors to finish the exam. So then that was a really big barrier because then I was putting so much time and also like trying to work it out with the professors to have another time to finish a lengthy exam, and like they had to put extra time into it too. And UW Whitewater and University of Illinois both have like testing centers through the disability services that you can just schedule your time and do all of it there, which makes things a lot easier. But that was definitely a difficulty because it definitely felt like such an inconvenience for me and the professors at the first university where they didn't have much of a system for that. And that's like, yeah, big thing.
Right. But it sounds like at UW, Whitewater, and University of Illinois, you had some pretty good triumphs, right?
Yeah. They're definitely very, very accommodating at both of these. I remember my favorite professor at UW Whitewater, she definitely was really helpful for lifting up my confidence overall. She was very always willing to help me figure things out, but also very obviously very like she expected a lot of me, which is helpful in a way. I don't know, but I remember one time I was like going to her because I was super scared about grad school. This was last fall when I was like starting to apply for grad school. And I was really worried because one thing that's really difficult for me that we did a little bit in undergrad is an otoscopy where like you look in someone's ear canal with, like you do that, the doctor might do that. It's the same thing. And that's difficult because of hands. And I was like so worried about certain things like that not being super easy, but she was very like reasonable accommodation is possible anywhere. Like, and she was always very like, I know that you'll be able to do anything. Um, and if someone else needs to like assist to do something small like that, it's not a big deal. That doesn't make you less competent as a future clinician and stuff. And I think that was very comforting, and that helped me a lot, just knowing that she like knowing that she thought I'd be competent no matter what, even if there are certain like little physical challenges.
Yeah, that's awesome to know that someone has like the confidence in you because like that does definitely pop up. I've had that too with like teaching. I'm like, oh wait, what about this, this, and this? And then your mind just like runs
Yeah,
with it.
right, exactly.
Yeah, and you need someone to be like, no, you're fine. Like accommodations will be in place.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
It's nice to have someone like that. That's awesome. Okay. And then one of my last questions is for you is what would you do you wish that you had like known something before you had started this whole process with college? Um,
Yeah, I feel like there's kind of a lot that I wish I had known. I wish that I I think one big thing would be like to I wish I'd known to like actually look into the disability aspects of universities when looking for universities. You would think that that'd be obvious, but as a senior in high school, I was just like, oh, like my high school had to by law accommodate me this way, but it varies a lot more by university than you would expect. And you don't won't necessarily know unless you really look into it. Um, and I wish I'd known, I guess, more of like affirming myself that accommodations are there for a reason, like to help you. Um, and I kind of wish I had known to like advocate for myself better in the beginning. I'm still not like great at that, but a little better.
it's not easy.
And yeah, and to like find those good role models and like professors and things like that who can help you through all of that, because that's definitely really helpful to have.
Yeah, that's a really good point because laws do change and from high school to college. And I didn't know that either. And I was like so annoyed when I found that out, like sophomore year of college. I was like,
Right.
why didn't no one tell me this?
Right. They
Yeah.
don't tell you that. It's just like you get to figure it out the hard way, or you figure
Yeah.
it out sometime.
Yeah. Hope it works out.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to say to someone that is looking to go to college soon or is a freshman or sophomore potentially in college? Any advice you can give?
I think I'd probably um, encourage anyone to just not let those sort or try not to think of those challenges. Or I think I would I'm trying to think of the right word here. I think I'd say like those challenges aren't necessarily failures, and they're not a reflection of you. Sometimes it's a reflection on the like society that's built largely for able-bodied people. And so if you have challenges getting through that sort of world, it's not because you're a failure, it's because the world wasn't necessarily designed with you in mind. So any triumph is huge, and that means you're getting over those barriers, which shouldn't have to happen, but in the current world, that's just how it is.
Yeah, I love that because it totally changed the way that I even like saw myself when I learned that about like the idea of the fact that it's not my fault that I can't do something. It's because of society did not make this accessible.
Exactly.
It's a really important thing to realize. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jen, for your time.
Thank you.